Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me. Hey, before we even get started, guys, I know you're checking out the shine. Checking out the gloss. I fixed it all up perfectly for you here today because, guys, I got to get out of here early in the morning and get ready for this weekend. Las Vegas, Nevada. Here I come. SummerSlam is going down Saturday night, as well as the Manny Pacquiao versus Yordanis Ugas fight going down Saturday night as well. And, man, I can't wait to get to Vegas. I'm giddy. But before we even get to Vegas, man, we got to start right here in the H. AEW Dynamite went down right here at the Fertitta Center last night. I didn't get a chance to be in the building, but my man Brad, we had a scout. We had spies in the building, checking out everything just to see if we could steal anything. You know what I'm saying? Reality wrestling, my little small company down here in Houston. You know, we all about reinventing. Whatever you got, we will take it and repackage it and make it. No, man, how'd you like the show, man? Talk to me about AEW Dynamite Fertitta Center last night.
Yeah, you know what? We've seen AEW. I didn't know what to expect going to my first AEW show, but I knew CM Punk was rumored to be coming in Friday, so I figured if this is going to be the show you put on before Punk comes in, it's got to be great. It's got to capture the imagination. Sting is on the card. Chris Jericho's on the card. I said it was going to be a great night. I got to say, that crowd, I never went to an ECW show. Right, I never went to an ECW show, but I always heard how hardcore the crowd was, meaning they loved ECW.
Yeah,
I will say, last night at the Fertitta Center, every fan who was there was engaged, on the edge of their seat, standing up, cheering, brought the signs, wore the merch. They were the most rabid fan base that I've seen at a show in quite some time. And I got to be honest, the show rocked from top to bottom.
Would you attribute that just to being here in Texas? You know what I mean?
I mean, look,
I'm just playing.
No. Well, I see what you're saying. But part of it could have been also because the crowd was hot. If anybody watched the show last night, if you were at the show, you could tell the crowd was hot. The crowd was there for everything from the beginning to the end. And I don't know if that was because it's the very first time that they were here in Houston, or if you just looked at what they put on the card. They opened up with Sting wrestling in his first match on TNT in 20 years. Young Bucks wrestled. Sammy Guevara worked a match. Big Show came out for a segment. Taz was on the card. And then it ended with Chris Jericho versus MJF, which was a culmination of 5 weeks. It was a great show.
Yeah. As far as takeaways, what do you take away from AEW as far as moving into the future?
I think that they have a great, solid foundation. They're only going to build upon it. I think that Fertitta Center now, they had 5,000 in there strong last night. I say about 5,000.
No. Chris Jericho said it was 5,000 people in there. Last night. So
I mean, it looked like it, and when you look at the capacity for Fertitta, it's like a little over 5,000. So they had it in there. And the crowd was engaged. A lot of Raw fans. I got to shout out to everybody who came out from reality wrestling. There were a couple of reality wrestling stars there as well. But I tell you, man, they had a real feel to the show. And I was even talking to our executive producer, director of reality wrestling, Kevin Bernhardt, throughout the show. I was texting back and forth. It had a vibe to it. You know, like when you go to a restaurant, or you go to a bar, or you go to a concert, people say, "How was it?" And you say, "Oh man, it was a vibe." Right?
Yeah.
It had a vibe to it. I got to admit. And it was different than WWE. They're different shows. And I can see why sometimes comparing one to the other really isn't fair, because they are a different show. AEW felt like a really high production, and I mean this in the best way possible, like a high production indie show, right?
Yeah.
With some big talent on it.
Yeah.
Whereas WWE feels a little bit more spectacle-y, a little bit more polished. AEW has a bit of a more raw feeling to it, but that plays in its advantage. And so my first AEW experience was great. I mean, I give it 2 thumbs up. And to see Sting, because here's the other thing, Book. The last time I saw Sting wrestle in person was at the Night of Champions at the Toyota Center, where he wrestled Seth Rollins for the world title. We were both there that night. That was the night where he got injured, and it looked like that was the last of Sting.
Yeah.
So to come back 6 years later and wrestle again in Houston and be the opening match on the card and go out there and rock the house. I'm sure that actually meant a lot for Sting to kind of come full circle in Houston.
How you gonna tell him, man? You know, how you gonna tell him, man, that he can't do it no more? Sting did it live in living color right here in Houston, Texas, Petita Center just last night, guys. And from the consensus here in the H, man, it was a really, really good show. Everybody left happy. Like you said, a vibe. That's all you need, man. That's all you need for things to just heat up and get bigger and bigger and bigger. Because that right there is what wrestling has always been about. It used to always be, I don't know, 5,000 people, Sam Houston Coliseum every Friday night. Here in you talk about the 83 weeks. I don't know how long that thing went on. As far as how many weekends that place was sold out, 5,000 people, and it was a vibe. It was you wanted to be there. I always talk about, man, when the ball is dropping in Times Square, New Year's Eve. You know what I mean? I don't know how many a million people, a couple of million people be out there. Everybody want to be a part of that, man. And when I see it, I go, man, I cringe when I think about being around that many people. But some people are drawn to that environment, that engaging. Yeah, man, I'm loving it.
Hopefully, did you watch the show at all last night? Being it was in Houston.
No, I did watch it, and that's what I try to take. I try to, like I say, I'm serious when I say I try to take a little bit here and take a little bit there, and try to incorporate it into my own, because you said high produce indie show. That's what I have. I have an indie company, but I want to produce it at a very, very high level. So when fans come in and watch it and be a part of it, like you just said a second ago, I want them to have that vibe. Like you said, it was Will All Day chants going on in the building. I need that. I want to be able to piggyback off of what those guys did here in Houston. And like I say, be able to capitalize off of some of the good things they did also at the same time, man. And, I look at Florida. That's AEW territory. I look at New York City. That's WWE territory. But when I look at Texas, man, that's reality of wrestling. That's road territory, bro. And so I'm thinking about moving up, making things bigger and better. And if I can capitalize off WWE, if I can capitalize off AEW, trust me, I will do that. And I will, like Ernie Ladd said, I will do that well, young man.
Yeah, and what I mean also by it's a high produced indie. I want to clarify so people know what I'm saying. Like when you go to an indie show and that crowd is so supportive of everyone in the ring. Like I saw very few people even on their cell phones. People were focused on the action because they came to see those people perform, and it's a smaller venue. It's not a WWE where you have 20,000, right? It's a Fertitta Center with 5,000, and where they lacked in quantity of attendees, they more than made up for the quality of the experience that everybody had. I mean, you were able to interact. And I'm sure it was kind of like that when you were with WWE and did a lot of house shows. I'm sure you could interact with the crowd more, right? Even in the dark segments where, you weren't on television, Taz trying to rile the crowd up before they come back live so he can have the booze already raining in, things of that nature to where you can actually have those interactions. It was really cool.
No, but just to clarify it for you just a little bit, even more so, it was about the wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's on the marquee, man. And when you can go out there and give that part high energy, from a high energy perspective, you're gonna win every time. I was looking at the documentary Dark Side of the Ring, and they were talking about Dr. David Schultz, and I know we got to take a break, and I want to talk about that when we come back from the break. Guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a second. Independent wrestling is full of charismatic persona, incredible athleticism,
shooting star, press from pressure, cover,
and at times, complete chaos.
got attention. Don't do it, Will. Oh my God!
It's where the young guys, the young girls come today to pay their dues, to learn the craft, to start the journey to become the next wrestling superstar. I'm WWE Hall of Famer Booker T, and these are the Indies. Can you dig it, sucker? Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. I was just making a point there. I was looking at the dark side of the ring, and I was talking about Dr. David Schultz when he had the incident with John Stossel, actually back in the day, and the thing was,
well, for people who don't know that, what exactly happened?
Well, John Stossel, actually reporter back in the day, very very well-known reporter, was doing an expose on professional wrestling, and as far as wrestling being real or fake, of course he thought and knew it was fake, and he wanted to talk to some of the insiders about wrestling and asked them the actual question: is wrestling fake? And the person that he was talking to was David Schultz, who was a WWF wrestler back in the day. And David Schultz took this thing for real, man. I mean, it was real to him as far as going out there and making those people feel that raw emotion when they watched him perform. He was the bad guy, and John Stossel, point blank said, well, I think it's fake. Bang, hit John Stossel. Fast forward, it was the end of his career. But he was the guy that went out there and tried to portray this thing to a point to where, there again, if you go on Broadway and watch Shakespeare, you want it to be as real as you possibly can see it. I mean, you want to feel that moment. And that's what wrestlers did back in the day. And I think that's what AEW kind of like made the fans feel a little bit somewhat. And I say that because of the Chris Jericho match. After that loss, Chris Jericho put out a tweet, and the tweet was, I got a lot of soul searching to do after that loss last night. And that right there is in the context of what we're talking about with social media and using social media to still further our angles and make people feel like they're watching All My Children. General Hospital. I can't imagine if General Hospital spoilers were out, All My Children, the spoilers were out, the day before this. Can you imagine that those shows wouldn't be on television today? But to be able to use social media properly, man, it works. It works, and it works to the utmost. So I say there again, young people that's in this business, that's watching guys like the Nick Gage. You can learn from those guys, because keeping it real, that ain't far gone out of the picture of what we're doing. I don't think so. I think people still want to have that emotional feeling and leave the arena going, man, that made me feel a certain way, opposed to feeling the opposite.
Yeah, having a feeling walking away from it, other than, when you see a movie and someone goes, how was it? You say, oh, it's all right. Right? It means you didn't hate it, but you didn't love it. But if you can walk away from that show or that movie, you say, God, it was awesome.
Exactly.
Oh my God, it was incredible. And make the people believe. I think that's more to your point of making them believe. I think that one of the guys, and this might be it for a shoot, I don't know, but one of the guys who I feel like is the most believable in the last 5-10 years in wrestling is Brock Lesnar.
Oh yeah, man.
I don't know if Brock really hates everybody, if that's for real or that's his character. But I will say, I've been back there on a few separate occasions where Brock is walking through the locker room and people don't say anything to him. You know what I mean?
Well, the last social media thing I saw with Brock Lesnar, he was cutting up a pig.
That's so... And he's got a ponytail or something, right?
Yeah, and I'm like, that's not something I want to be experiencing. And I mean, I'm talking about, killed it, gutted it, cut it up and put that son of a gun in the freezer. Okay, that ain't my. I'm just gonna go to the grocery store and pick up the fine parts. Okay, I ain't got to go kill the beast and then cut him up. See, but that's the type of guy Brock Lesnar is. He's real. He's raw dog, and nothing but respect for those guys who know how to keep it real and use that social media thing properly to still keep what they're doing as far as their livelihood. More important than anything, the livelihood, making sure that's intact. Hey, man, I appreciate those guys.
And, it's the reason why guys like Jericho and Brock have always been box office, because they understand that aspect of the business. Let me ask you this. When you were coming up, like in the global days and things of that nature, were you ever instructed to, quote unquote, protect the business if somebody came out there and said something? Because I remember reading something about Bill Watts, to where if somebody came up to you and said, good show tonight, he instructed you to punch them in the mouth, right? If somebody tried you, he said, you better fight them back and you better win or don't come back to work next week. Was it ever like that when you were starting out?
Well, for me, the door was pretty much open. When I got into the business, as far as people knowing exactly what it was. But I just still tried to toe the line properly. When I was a heel, I wasn't out there, kissing babies and, shaking hands with everybody, but I wasn't like the most rudest person in the world, but I knew I had to protect my image. You didn't find me leaving the building with the guy that I work with or anything like that ever. I was talking about Jody Hamilton Sr. when we were at Disney doing the Disney tapings in the morning, and I just happened to be talking to my opponent. Could have been Too Cold Scorpio or somebody, and in Disney, it was free show, fans walking by. And Jody Hamilton, for God's sake, kayfabe. Okay, man. Okay, you know what I mean. So it's always been a rule to try to protect the business as much as you possibly can, and I believe that still today. I could be buddies with just like, say, for instance, at Reality of Wrestling, you got two guys during the main event. Even if they're gonna go to the bar, hey, I'll meet you over there. We ain't gonna ride together. We just happen to bump into each other, and all fair and love and war. I can accept that. You know what I mean? I'm sure MMA fighters may see each other later on after a fight and go, "Hey, man, what's going on? Hey, you want to have a drink?" Hey, I can take that. But if I saw those two guys get in the car together and leave, we got a problem. So I say, just know how to protect the business, because the business is your livelihood, and in your livelihood is how you make money and make sure those little things that come in the mailbox, those notes, those bills, they can be taken care of.
Yeah, well, and I think right now, when you talk about pro wrestling, you're talking about how great Chris Jericho did after the match. I also got to say this about Chris Jericho. I think he understands the pro wrestling audience better than 99% of people working today. And that's not a slight to anyone else, but this is a guy who knew it would be a bigger moment last night, not just to come out for the fifth match against MJF. Hey, let's ban my music. And you think, why would you ever ban the music? Okay, I'll tell you why you ban the music. So you can have 5,000 people sing you to the ring in unison.
Yeah,
that's understanding your audience, right? It's also, I remember when him and AJ were tagging, and it was to build an angle for them at WrestleMania. They only tagged for 2 weeks, but Jericho was insistent that they make T-shirts that said Y2AJ. So he would trick the fans to think, well, if they just made merch for them, they must have a long run ahead of them, right? That's thinking on the next level that Jericho and only a few other guys do. And last night, that entrance was sensational.
Well, I mean, one thing I can honestly say about Jericho, he's a guy that understood the business when we were doing it, and he understands it right now. That's the difference. I think, with a lot of, people that try to do this and try to have that longevity, they don't think about what's going on today. And for me, I'm always trying to think about these young guys and what they're feeling, and as well as the audience and which way they might want to go, because to keep that audience engaged with you, and you're the oldest guy on the roster. That's very, very unique. And you can't do nothing but say, man, that is awesome, awesome work. Like you said there, to have the audience play you to the ring in unison, word for word. And I was like, man, this is, I'm gonna tell you right now, I know that's something that he's gonna remember, I think, more so than anything in his wrestling career. That night in Houston, Texas, singing that song. I'm gonna tell you, man, that song is so damn popular now. I'm serious, man. That is like one of the most popular songs in America today. I'm serious.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just, you know, there again, I wish I would have thought of it.
And you know what's else is crazy about that? Not only is it his own song, which makes it even cooler that people are singing, he had one of the classic entrance themes of all time in WWE, you know, the break the wall down,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And he's found a way to find a song that's his own and became more popular. I don't know any of the words to break the walls down. I think they say something about I'm your Judas and I'm your priest or something like that.
Hey, man.
But this one, people sing it word for word. It's incredible.
And then the Judas effect, all of this, you know what I mean? It's just, come on, you know. He didn't do anything now. You know, if I can figure out a way to hit you with the Judas effect, we can go home.
Back elbow, spinning back elbow. It's a wrap.
You gotta love it, man. You gotta love it. Just want to say, hope everybody in the H, man, had a whole lot of fun watching the show. Our own Houston's Sammy Gofar went out there and did it, representing reality of wrestling. Big ups to that kid right there. I want to thank him for going out there and doing that. But guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We got a whole lot more for you.
This is Booker T World Gym Arena in Texas City, the home to the Reality of Wrestling Training Center. It's a 20,000 square foot facility with more than 50 full-time students and wrestlers from around the world. Inside the World Gym Arena sits a 9,000 square foot venue set up for weekly shows.
From up top, 1-2 moonsault!
Where our students showcase their skills in front of a live audience.
What he's done here is awesome. He's created opportunity, and he's creating great talent, as you guys well know.
In the back, a full weight room.
6 up!
Complete with state-of-the-art equipment and personal trainers.
There you go. Two more.
A full staff and office personnel.
One more.
Running the day-to-day operation. We have interview sets for TV production, promo classes, quarterly combines. We evaluate progression and team building. Referees, commentators, ring announcers, and live television production. At the World Gym Arena, we don't just teach you how to become a professional wrestler, but an elite sports entertainer. This is Reality of Wrestling.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Just want to pause for a second, man. One of my friends, his name's Saul Solis. He's the godfather of Texas MMA. When I first started my gym downtown Houston, him and I was partners. He had one side and I had the other side. He just passed away from COVID-19, 55 years old. And I just want to send my condolences out to his family. Good dude, man. Good dude. Nothing but you're not going to hear anything but good words said about Saul. And I just want to say that here on the show. There again, Godspeed.
Yeah, my condolences out. I didn't know him, but you know, if you speak that highly of him, obviously he was a great
Yeah,
individual.
yeah, man. As well as my friend, if you guys could donate to his GoFundMe account, Brian Knobs, Nasty Boy Knobs, man, he's in the hospital right now and he's in pretty serious condition, having some stomach issues. Guys, if you could donate to the GoFundMe, do that. I'm not sure exactly what the
We'll find it and we'll put it on Twitter.
definitely.
Yeah.
But SummerSlam, guys, SummerSlam coming up this weekend. I will be in Las Vegas. I'm getting ready to head out in the morning, getting there early, man, because it's gonna be on. It's gonna be on. What do you think about SummerSlam?
Well, I'm excited about it mainly because the main event sold me. The Roman Reigns versus John Cena. And I know we're going to go through the whole SummerSlam card. But before we do, Roman, did you see the interview that Roman gave today that made some headlines?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so it was actually a couple hours before we went live, and it ties into a little AEW stuff. So I thought that we should bring it up here. Roman Reigns was doing an interview and was asked about CM Punk making his pro wrestling return, right?
Right.
And he had some choice words for CM Punk and regarding his return to wrestling. And if you'll indulge me,
Let me hear it.
I'd like to play the clip for everybody
Bro.
so that we can hear
Do it.
exactly
now.
exactly what he said. So let me share this right now as we're talking, because I do appreciate he didn't hold back on what he thinks about him. So this is Roman Reigns. Let me close that there. This is Roman Reigns discussing CM Punk. Here we go.
Wait a minute, I can't hear it.
You can't hear that?
Oh, no, I can't hear that.
Okay, give me 1 second. I will reshare it. Just give me 1 second. But
Yeah, it looks,
Roman Reigns
he looked
here.
like he looked like he's deep in thought right there.
He's saying something.
Yeah,
He's definitely saying something here. So here we go.
Definitely.
Here it is. All right, here's Roman Reigns talking about CM Punk.
Better people, who possibly thought they were better than they really were. When it comes down to it, CM Punk was not as good or as over as a John Cena. Wasn't as good or as over and moved the needle like The Rock. It was just what it was. From a full-time performer, I understand the frustration and wanting more. But
so that was the clip that he was talking about with CM Punk when asked about his impending return to the AEW. He said he wasn't as over as John Cena. He never moved the needle like The Rock. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I can say this about CM Punk. He created that straight edge movement. He created a buzz when a lot of guys in the locker room at that time wasn't. And he did it from a different perspective, being the guy there again, straight edge, didn't drink, didn't smoke. I think that's the reason why they kind of like got behind the CM Punk, train and start really, chugging down the tracks with it, because it was a good story to tell. You see this guy, he's all tatted up, but he's a regular guy like you and I. And, his performances, I'm not going to sit here and say CM Punk was the best in the world. Okay. I'm not going to do it. Okay. Some people might do it, but I'm not. Was he good at CM Punk had mastered getting into a certain group's head, and they bought on, man, and that's all you got to do. I look at the Insane Clown Posse. Man, those guys got a hell of a following. Mm-hmm. They've tapped into a certain, group, a certain niche, and that's what CM Punk did, and it was hot. CM Punk was hot enough for them to actually give him a culture personality. To that song alone, right there, I didn't see any other.
Right.
I didn't see any other boys on the roster had songs like that. So CM Punk had a bus.
He was a bus guy.
When you got a bus, you moving something, damn it.
It might not be the needle, but something's moving.
Exactly.
Might be merch sales or ticket sales.
Exactly. So I can't sit here and say I don't know what the what the deal was as far as the interview going, or if there's any anime. I don't know. I'm not even finna jump into that. But I know when you riding around in a bus, you getting, signature songs, and they are thinking about putting you in the upper echelon of these big main events and these big cards. You're doing something. So I don't know if it's moving the needle. I don't know. But I know CM Punk, he had something in the wrestling world. At one point in time, they was all over it, man. Seriously.
And when he did the pipe bomb, I will say, he got people outside of wrestling interested again. So he definitely moved the needle, in my opinion. Now, if you want to take Roman, what he literally said, was CM Punk as over at his hottest than a John Cena? Okay, that's arguable, right? You can argue that he was never as hot as a John Cena.
You know what? I'm gonna say right now, without a shadow of a doubt, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, John Cena's had a legendary run that very few people
was he more over than The Rock? Hell no. You know what I mean? So no.
But did he have a good run on top and do something interesting and was one of the top guys? And was he over with the crowd? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I think he like I say, CM Punk created something that a lot of guys in that locker room just couldn't do. I don't know if it was I always thought it was the indie following at first. And then I go, nah, that can't be it. Just because we know, just how big, the indie world is, from that perspective. They're not going to show up in every arena. You know what I'm saying? They're going to show up in their town, but they're not going to show up in every arena. The mass is not going to show up following CM Punk like the Pied Piper. That's not going to happen. So I say, yeah, the dude, he created something. And me personally, I can't really tell you what it was, because some people have those intangibles that some people gravitate to that you have no knowledge as far as, man, what is it about this guy? I've said about Matt Hardy. I said, man, I didn't think this guy was as good as he, most people thought, but then I got in the ring with him and I go, wow, Christian, you look at him from the outside, you just don't know. So I can't tell you what it was that CM Punk brought, but it was definitely something. He had that hook. We always said you can just hook him. You might can get him to the boat. And that's what CM Punk, man. He was reeling them in, man. He was reeling them in.
And, he could be by this time tomorrow, or a little bit later, this time tomorrow, about 24 hours, we could be seeing him back in a wrestling ring. Do you think it's going to happen tomorrow night? AEW Rampage?
You know what, man? You know what? I'm curious, man. I want to see it. Yeah, I want to see if CM Punk come back. I want to see if CM Punk still can do it like he did it once before. I want to see if the masses, show up and I just got to see. I want to see for myself, because I always wonder, man. Out of sight, out of mind. I always talk about time off is your worst enemy. This wrestling game, there's no way you can really get yourself in shape for it, other than just getting out there and doing it. The body, I want to see if the guy been working out in the gym, if he's going to bring something different to the table other than talk. I want to see. So I'm highly anticipating this debut, just like the world. I'm wondering. And, I want to see. No, I got to see. You know what I mean? That's what I'm at. I don't want to see. I got to see if CM Punk is going to make his debut. I want to see if Daniel Bryan is going to come back and do his thing. Just because, man, it's like Christmas time right now. You don't want to go to sleep. I'm serious, man.
I'm serious too. I was serious too.
I didn't want to go to sleep when I was little, man. Christmas time, Christmas Eve. I didn't want to go to sleep. You know what I mean? I stay up all night looking for Santa to come down where we had no chimney, but looking to see if he just knock on the door, whatever.
Creep to the window.
Because I was gonna mug his ass every
I know you got some good stuff, Santa.
Like everything.
CM Punk, I never thought he'd go back to wrestling, but then he did backstage with you and Renee and Paige. I think that was a step in the right direction. This year, He's doing this show Heels on Stars. He's a part of that. That's a wrestling-centric show. It's a step forward. Now we will find out if he will actually do it tomorrow. AEW Rampage. I guarantee you, everybody's going to be watching. And someone can correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. I think it's the biggest AEW crowd in history tomorrow night at United Center.
21,000 sold out United Center. That would be that's going to be a spectacle if it turned out. Hey guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
And that's a stunning elbow to the face. Oh, and look at this. She just raking Angela's face across the middle. Oh, my goodness. That's hard to watch. Oh, man, what is she thinking? Oh, no. Top rope suplex. Superplex from the champion. If enough damage hasn't been done already to Angela, that has got to be the exclamation point. She's looking for the 450. Oh! From the top rope. She's calling for shooting star press. Star press. Shooting star press cover. 1, 2, 3. Sucker.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. We just rolling. Like I said, we got SummerSlam coming up this weekend. Can't wait to get on. You know what, man? I'm still skeptical, man. I wouldn't say skeptical, still a little reluctant, about getting on airplanes right now. I know we got to get back out there and get to work, man. But this Delta variant, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. And but I'm gonna suck it up. I'm gonna suck it up because I want to get down and see exactly what's gonna happen in the main event of SummerSlam, as well as the Manny Pacquiao versus Ugas fight going down this weekend. I definitely don't want to miss out on that. Too bad Errol Spence Jr. Had to pull out of that fight due to a eye injury, emergency eye surgery. So we're going to see exactly what happened with his career going forward. Definitely hope that kid can get back into the square circle sooner than later. But what do you want to talk about, man? What do you want to talk about?
Oh, I mean, we can get into SummerSlam, but real quick also on the Errol Spence of it all. I remember in the Rocky movies when Rocky started having the issue with his eye, right? And Mick, slapped him upside the face. Like, so you didn't even see that, did you? Right? You didn't even see it. Right?
Broken down old bub like me.
Oh, Burgess Meredith.
You're finished, kid.
You're finished, kid. You didn't even see it, did you? But when that, in the movie, that was actually the first time that, because when you think about an athlete, especially boxer, you think about his footwork, but mainly his hands and his ability to, come in and out. And if you have an eye that's an issue for you, there's two things to think about in that regard. One, your ability to see shots coming at you at a rapid speed, hundreds of times per boxing match. And then doesn't that make it a target for your opponent? Like, I know that sounds kind of awful, but if I know a guy's got a bad eye, I'm going to be hitting him on that side because I think, well, maybe he won't see those shots as much. So for Errol, does it add just such a degree of difficulty that he's going to have to really think hard before his next fight?
Well, I mean, it's just like a cut fighter. I mean, you're going to go after that cut. You want to open it up and, a swollen eye, you're going to try to make that eye swollen up to the point to where it closes. Him having I don't know exactly what surgery he had, but if it had anything to do with like retina, anything like that, he's going to have problems coming back and actually being able to fight from that perspective. Of course, he's going to be fighting with a handicap. But I'm sure it's a lot of fighters probably fighting the fight game with that handicap Errol Spence he's just one of those guys, upper echelon. He just happened to be the champ, So it's gonna be one of those things that I'm definitely going to be looking forward to seeing if he can come back and do it like he did it once before, because he's definitely going to be tested in so many different ways. And the thing is about that division, the Sean Porters of the world, those guys, man, they're hungry, man. They want that title. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Errol Spence come back, and hopefully he can, regain his form and go back and do his job and do it like he always did it once before.
Yeah, I know. I just got clarification. It's a retina tear that they had to repair.
Yeah. Detached retina has always been something boxers have dealt with. If I'm not mistaken, Sugar Ray Leonard had a detached retina back in the day, and it was one of the things that started his downfall. So definitely, man, it's not something that you want to play with in the boxing game. But SummerSlam, man, SummerSlam. What are you most interested in as far as SummerSlam goes?
Well, obviously, we've been talking about about Roman versus John Cena. I want to know what John Cena is going to do in this match, because these two guys worked before. You were actually on the call, I believe, for their first encounter at No Mercy in the Staples Center a few years ago in Los Angeles, California. That was the first time that they went one-on-one. Roman Reigns got the better of John Cena that night. My question to you is, would SummerSlam against John Cena at a packed out stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada, be the place where the head of the table finally catches an L and John Cena wins title number 17? Or if you were booking it, does John Cena come in just to, do the job, but have an incredible match with the new top guy in the company?
Man, it's hard for me to book this match right now, man, just because of everything that's going on outside of, WWE. It really is. I don't know if, for me, just say, for instance, I know I got John Cena. I talk about it all the time. If I got a guy like John Cena, I'm gonna use him as long as I can. I got to try to get as much as I can out of a guy like John Cena, just because I know he's not going to be around forever. All right, so. How many dates we got? I'm just talking right now. I'm talking to my staff. How many dates do we got John Cena locked in for? If they say 20 dates, my brain will start working. You know what I mean? But if John Cena just coming in for a one-off, and I know he's got a lot of stuff. This guy got a lot of responsibilities in Hollywood. He just can't be running around, taking bumps. Okay, I understand that, but he loves the business. So otherwise, he wouldn't be back. That's just a fact. So if I know I got John Cena for a limited amount of time, and I might be losing him, and I got to try to shake things up, I might roll the dice and do something crazy. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Okay.
I can see it happening. I think Roman's the odds-on favorite, but I can see it happening.
Yeah. I'm speaking with my promoter's hat on.
That's what I want. I want the promoter hat.
I mean, that's just the only thing I'm thinking about right now is, if I could, get a guy, and I know I got him for a certain amount of time, and I could do something with this. Hey, man, let's get it done. Because hey, it's those other storylines, they're gonna always be there. They're gonna be there. John Cena, he's winding down. He's wrapping it up. He's not gonna be in this, doing this thing for very much longer. I just can't see. Let's just say 10 years. No, he's not gonna be doing it for another 10 years. All right. So we got to think about, if we got him, let's get him and get it good. The rhymes are right. You wish you would. Something like that. You know what I mean?
Well, what about you? Let me ask you, what are you most looking forward to at SummerSlam?
Man, I'm really I'm thinking about Bobby. I don't know why, but Bobby's been a guy that's been on a hell of a run. Goldberg's back. I think this could be a really, really good night. I'm not going to say for who or anything like that, but this could be literally a skull-crushing night for the business if done right. And I just want to see how that thing play out. Bobby Lashley, bona fide. I'm telling you, man. I mean, bona fide, carved out of granite, taking on Goldberg. You know, the past versus the present. Oh man, old line versus mature line. You know, one of those type of deals. You know,
You didn't say a young line and an old line, but there's a mature line
and a mature line. You know what I mean? Because Bobby 40s in his 40s. You know what I mean?
It's not a young line, but
he's a young line. You know what I mean? So, but he's still a guy that I'm gonna tell you right now. Bobby's still a guy that you ain't finna walk up on and try to test him at all. You ain't gonna walk up off the street or get up off the sofa and say, man, I'll whoop him right now. That ain't the guy you're gonna want to try. Okay? That's not the guy. And that's why I say mature line, because he's a guy that's been in the business. He's seen it. He's went around the world. He's learned his craft. And Bobby Lashley right now is the best version of Bobby Lashley that I've ever seen in this business.
It's definitely the best run he's ever had, by far. Yeah. And I know what you like, because here's the thing. People talk about Goldberg coming in and, you know, he's only going to have a 6-minute match, if that, 4-minute match, whatever. But both Bobby and Goldberg want to go out there, just like everyone else on the card, and put on the best performance they can possibly put on, and have everybody on Twitter and the next day on, you know, all the sites talking about, man, can you believe that Bobby Lashley versus Bill Goldberg? That was my favorite thing from SummerSlam. That's their goal. And I think that with that motivation, they can turn something in. Same way that Goldberg did with Brock a few years ago at WrestleMania. They went out there and they just threw each other around and beat the hell out of each other for 5 minutes. And it was one of the most entertaining things on the card.
It was a fight.
It was a fight.
No one cared if they saw someone come off the top rope or someone, you know, hit the ropes and did some fancy, you know, cartwheel and a backflip or no one. No, I'm serious. No one cared about that, because when you're watching a guy like Brock Lesnar, you know it's a fight. You know, it's gonna be a war. When you're watching a guy like Roman Reigns, you know exactly what you're gonna get out of a match like that. When you're watching a guy like John Cena, you know exactly what you're gonna get. It's not gonna be any frills or anything like that, but at the end of the night, you're gonna be wanting to say encore, bravo, awesome job. When you leave that theater that night, I'm saying theater, Coliseum, arena, whatever we're talking about, you say, wow, can't wait to get back and watch it one more time. That's the deal right there. And that's what Shakespeare is really all about. And that's the art that I studied and I love so much. Hey guys, we got to take a quick break. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Yeah, definitely looking forward to SummerSlam. Can't wait to get in the building. But we got a big fight going down this weekend in Las Vegas as well. Udonis Ugas versus Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao. Hey man, championships all on the line.
Yep.
Manny Pacquiao being a guy that's, let's just say, I don't know, special. A guy that's been in this game for quite some time, and it doesn't seem like he's slowing down. It seems like he's still just as good as he's ever been from his last outing. I don't know. Like they say all the time, fighters can get old quick overnight, you know. But I don't see that happening with Manny Pacquiao. I just don't. I think for Manny Pacquiao to lose a fight, he's almost got to be separated from his senses. I've only seen that happen once when he fought the babyface assassin when he got knocked out cold. But Manny Pacquiao, it seemed like a guy that is definitely defying Father Time. Let's just say that. To beat Keith Thurman the way he did definitely told me this guy's the real deal. To beat Adrian Broner the way he did, I go, wow. You know what? I thought Broner would actually be able to handle Manny Pacquiao. I don't know why. I don't know why. But I did think.
Well, if you ask Adrian Broner, he did handle Manny Pacquiao.
I won that fight. I know I won that fight.
I beat that man.
I beat that boy. They just want to do this thing with Floyd. They just want to get that money, which I understand that too. But I don't know. This is going to be definitely a unexpected entry for Manny Pacquiao, and Yordenis Ugas, a guy that he didn't expect to fight. Ugas is not a knockout artist or anything like that. He's not a guy that's going to go out there and just get you out of there with one punch. He's got 4 KOs on his record. He's got actually 12 KOs on his record, 4 losses. And my thing is this. I've watched Ugas go out and make good fighters look regular. Omar Figueroa is a good fighter. Went out and actually beat Omar pretty convincingly. Mike Dallas, an okay fighter. Abel Ramos, a pretty good fighter. And that fight right there with Ramos, I saw Yordenis Ugas, and that's what's scary about the fight game also. I saw Ugas beat Ramos convincingly, more so than Figueroa. Let's just say that. Beat him just about every round, and the judges, called it a split decision. So it's kind of scary from that perspective as far as Ugas go, just because he didn't have the bigger name like a Manny Pacquiao. So for Ugas to beat Manny Pacquiao, he's going to have to go out there and beat him convincingly. He can't leave like no stone unturned in a fight like that with Manny Pacquiao, because the fight is in Vegas, and Vegas is in love with Manny Pacquiao, and it's going to be we might as well call Vegas the Philippines on Saturday on Saturday night, because that's how many people are going to be in the building for Manny Pacquiao. So I don't see Ugas winning by decision unless it's a totally one-sided affair with a couple of knockdowns. So I'm feeling that there again, this is Ugas' one shot. He's a bigger fighter. I think he's a stronger fighter. And I really believe he's going to get Pacquiao out of there on Saturday night. Now, what I need you to tell me, Brad, is what are the odds on this fight right now? Because like I say, if the odds are right, as soon as I land tomorrow in Vegas, I'm going to talk to somebody, because this fight right here, this could be the one right here if the odds are right.
Well, Booker T, according to the DraftKings Sportsbook, Manny Pacquiao is a sizable yet not overwhelming favorite at minus 360 to win, which means if you bet you have to bet $360 to win 100. while Ugas is the plus 275 underdog. So you bet 100, you win 275 with Ugas. You bet 1,000, you win 2750 with Ugas. So that's kind of where the line sits. Also, Manny Pacquiao winning by decision is the favorite outcome at plus 110. Pacquiao by KO, TKO, or DQ is plus 175.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna do something. I think I'm gonna call something. Where's Jerry Bow right now? I need to talk to right now.
I mean, when you look at that money, though, Ugas would be a good bet. Like if you're trying to make money, Ugas is the bet to make.
No. You know what? He's the bet to make, but he's a guy that actually can go out here and win this fight. He actually can go out and win this fight relatively easy. Ugas got perhaps the best double jab in the welterweight division. The only thing that scares me is Manny Pacquiao being a southpaw. That's the one thing that scares me because Manny Pacquiao has a three-piece combination and he uses some of this Louisiana hot sauce right on the tip of it. And it seemed to catch guys sleeping, just like he caught Keith Thurman in the second round. It was a shot that Keith Thurman thought he had evaded, thought he had moved far enough to get out of the way, and it caught him bang right on the chin. That's the one shot Manny Pacquiao has caught just about every fighter that he's been in the ring with except Floyd Mayweather. That's the only guy that I've seen evade that little three-piece punch. Now, if Ugas is smart and his people have been working on a game plan, I really feel, I really honestly, truly feel that Ugas can go out there and get a victory in this fight. Like I say, the double jab, I don't know if it's going to work against Pacquiao just because Pacquiao is southpaw and he throw that one big shot, that one big left hand that could catch you, bang, and knock you right out. But like I say, if the game plan is down, I do think Yordenis Ugas is going to go into this fight and he's going to walk out the welterweight champion of the world.
It's a big prediction, Booker T. It is, just given Manny Pacquiao's pedigree, but Manny Pacquiao is older than when we saw him 2 years ago fight. And what has that done to his career? We'll see. We'll see if he still can go out there like he's done so many times before. I would like to think that Pacquiao's team also wouldn't have accepted the fight on a short notice if they didn't feel like they had a good chance to go out there and get the job done.
You know what, man? I don't think it's just that. You know, I think Pacquiao has the big enough kahunas to say, hey, man, put anybody in front of me. I think I can beat these guys. Right now, Manny Pacquiao is on a mission as far as his legacy go. How great am I going to be when this thing is all over with? You know, to start at 106 pounds, okay, to win championships at 106 pounds and move all the way up to 146 pounds in the welterweight division. That right there, man, that's a legacy that no fighter can say they had ever done something like that. To have took his power from 106 to welterweight. That right there is uncanny. And so, and then to be 40 years old and still beating these young guys, that right there is something that few people can say. George Foreman, few people can say they've dominated the young division outside of a guy like George Foreman, other than a Manny Pacquiao. Now, like I say, I'm still going to go with Ugas just because Ugas is a guy that he's hungry. He's on a mission. Can he win this fight? I think he can. For me, the odds are perfect. They could be, you know, I would like a little bit more for, you know, from an underdog perspective. But that money right there, 1,000, give me what, 2,700, 2,750?
2,750.
I'm on it. I'm all on it. We got a super chat, man, before we get out of here.
Before we get out of here, here's our first. Oh, wait, hold on. I had the volume down that one. Had the volume down. Here we go.
Super chat.
There it is. This is from B Star. Do you think Test should be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame?
My former tag team partner, Test. I mean, come on. I mean, tag team champions, me and Test. Yeah, man. Test was definitely a WWF guy. He was a guy that drew ratings. Test was a star. Did he win the World Heavyweight Championship or anything like that? No. But Test was one of those guys that put in the work. Hall of Fame. You know what? I'm biased. Of course, I'm going to say yeah. But I do think we would have to go back and look at the body of work of Test. Because, damn, everybody that was with me won a tag team championship. so I say, let's go back and look at the body of work of Test, and then we'll determine that. But as far as me, my friend Test, I'd have put him in a long time ago. That's just me.
Hey, there you have it. Test awesome.
Man, we got to get out of here, man. I want to thank you guys for sticking around with me today. I got to get out of here, get ready to go to Vegas in the morning. So I will be doing some live stuff from Vegas as well, guys. So stay tuned to the device, and you'll hear everything that's going on. Guys, I appreciate you guys, Bradley, as always. So we appreciate you. But right now, we out of here, y'all. Can you dig it?